Hello everyone, I'm Rachel and you're listening to Let's Talk Avatar. This is a watch through of The Legend of Korra. Isaac and I will be discussing each episode and giving our opinions on it. Just as a reminder, this podcast does contain spoilers for The Legend of Korra. This is a teen-rated podcast, so listener discretion is advised. Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Rachel and you're listening to the Let's Talk Avatar podcast. This episode's going to be a little different. It's just me today, so please bear with me. It's kind of hard to have some fun banter when you're by yourself and to have a longer episode. So we're going to see how this goes. I still have a lot that I'd like to share because today's episode was quite entertaining to say the least. So please enjoy, bear with me. There's a couple things. There's actually one thing I'd like to mention. Today is the day we are releasing our Valentine's themed giveaway. I'm so excited for this. To get all the details, you can follow us on Instagram at Talk Avatar. You'll see how to enter, what's included, all of that fun stuff. So if you're interested, check us out. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, let's just hop right into this. Today's episode is episode 4 of season 3 of The Legend of Korra, which is titled, hold on, let me see here. I made notes this time, guys, because I feel like I'm usually the one to go off track. So I had to hold myself accountable and write notes, which I usually don't always do. So, yeah. This episode's called In Harm's Way, which is an appropriate title because this episode literally embodies harm's way. I wrote my notes from order of what happens. So I'm not going to explain every detail as always. I'm just going to share my favorite parts of it. I wrote out saying that Zahir is so powerful for not being a bender. And I mean, he's a bender now, obviously, an airbender because of harmonic convergence. But before that, he wasn't a bender, So I really can't remember his complete backstory because it's been a long time since I watched season 3. And like I've mentioned in podcasts before, I feel like I blacked out a lot of season 3. So there's a lot of things that I don't remember. But I'm really impressed with how easy he is able to pick up airbending. And I think a lot of that has to do with his fighting style. Because if you watch him, he's obviously very trained in fighting and combat. And he's also very smart. He knows a lot about different benders and historians and all these different things. And I think that all kind of helps him to really channel and train his airbending ways, if that makes sense. But it's still kind of cool to see this person who was previously not a bender to pick up airbending and be able to be really good at it, Especially since we're watching these other airbenders bend and they have no idea what they're doing. I also put the Red Lotus as OP because watching them fight Tonraq and Eska and Desna and Zuko is just, they annihilate them, and you're watching them fight and you're like, dang, these people are freaking good. So it just, we talked about threats in Korra and the threats that are shown, Amon. I remember watching season 1, obviously it wasn't that long ago, but I remember watching it thinking man, I would be scared if I was Korra. And at this point, Korra doesn't know who Zahir is or anything about them, so she doesn't really have that threat quite yet. She does later in the episode, but at this point she doesn't know about them. So it's just crazy because I'm thinking to myself, man, if I knew I had to fight against these people, I'd be a little worried. Moving on though, I'm really enjoying Korra and Asami's friendship. I love that we're seeing them, be friends and train together and just talk things out because Korra really needs that. Before she had Naga and then after that it was Mako and Bolin. But to have this girlfriend who literally later turns into a girlfriend, but you know what I mean? A girlfriend to open up, to talk to kind of just vent things out with. It's really good. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving seeing Asami's character. She's probably one of my favorite people this season just because I have a lot of respect for her character and where she's gone, like where she's come from and how far she's gone, with everything she's gone through. I also want to make a comment about Jinora being obsessed with Kai. It's pretty cute because it's like she's obviously at that age where it's like she's starting to find people attractive, and Kai is that person for her. And so it's really cute that she's like worried about him. I mean, of course she'd be worried about him. You would think all of them would be worried about them, but they're really not. Jinora is the only one that seems to actively care about Kai. Can't really blame Mako and Bolin, but everyone else is just kind of like, well, whatever, we'll find him, it's okay. I also have a comment written about the animation, and usually this is Isaac's aspect. He's all about animation, scenes, and all this stuff, but I look at very little details randomly, not all the time, but randomly, and I noticed there's a scene where they're all huddled together talking about how they're going to get the airbenders, because at this point they found out the queen is hiding all of these airbenders underground. So Jinora is talking to the group, and it's kind of at an angle where you can't really see her mouth. But if you really look closely, you can see her mouth slightly moving as she talks. And I feel like a lot of cartoons, if you can't see the character's face that well, like even if you can slightly but not that well, they don't really put the effort into animating them talking. But they did that with Jinora, and it's such an odd thing for me to pick out, but I really appreciated it because those are the little things that people pay attention to. Like I said, I don't always pay attention to small details, but this was something I paid attention to and I really loved. So yeah, there's just a little tidbit for you. This is just so weird. I'm sitting here in my room recording this by myself, and I feel like I'm talking really fast. So I'm going to try and slow down because I feel like I'm giving a presentation. When I have Isaac with me, it's easier because it's like we're just talking to each other, but I'm just talking to a mic, and I stream, so I do that all the time too, but you would think that like I'd be used to it, but I'm not. So yeah, I apologize once again. Bear with me. Please don't hate on this episode. It's just me. It's Rachel, like Zuko alone, Rachel alone. I think I actually have an episode recorded that I did by myself that I named Rachel alone. Let's see, what else do I have written down? Oh, can we mention that Jinora's saving the day once again? Like, she's pretty OP. She is always around. I'm kind of happy about it. I love Jinora's character. I'm glad that they're giving her more responsibility, I guess, in a way. Like, Tenzin has a lot more faith in her. He's still skeptical or letting her do things, but he has more faith in her and allows her to go off and do things, which I really like because he's enabling her to like reach her full potential, And I love that they're pointing that out rather than like keeping her down because she's young, Also, sorry, this is all over the place. I'm literally reading off my notes. So there's no like segue into each comment. I'm just going with my own kind of flow. So, I didn't know this. Again, like I said, I blacked out all of season 3 every time I watched it, I guess. But Lin shows up at their house in Ba Sing Se, and they're like, what the heck, Lin, why are you here? And they're like, we need to get Korra out of here because the Red Lotus have escaped, Zahir and his whole crew. And Tenzin's like, oh no, this isn't good. And Korra's like, oh, what the hell's going on? Like, who are these people? What's happening? And Tenzin says that Zuko, Korra's dad, Tenzin, and then he mentions Chief Sokka saved her from getting kidnapped, and that's when they had put them away. And I thought that it was so cool because we got another mention of Sokka, and anytime he's mentioned, I'm so happy. I love Sokka. I've always been a fan of him since I was a kid watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. So any moment I get, I hold on to with him. So it was just cool for them to mention that, and it's also really fun to know that they had put them away and they had saved her from getting kidnapped. I don't remember that. Also, I think it's really cool that Korra, it's cool and it's not, but they're telling her about this. Lin and Tenzin are like, these people are really serious business. They can kill us, whatever, la-di-da-di-da. And she's like, I really don't care. Like, my focus right now is to save the airbenders. And I get where she's coming from because, honestly, she just defeated Unalaq. Like, she had to reach her cosmic self to reach Unalaq. So I think that she would feel a little more confidence in who she is and her ability to defeat her enemies, especially when she's taken down someone who was like a spirit in some sort of way, you know what I mean? So to hear about these people, and you actually don't know anything about them, you haven't been told anything, they've not even been a thought in your mind, it would be really easy not to take them seriously. And I mean, we know how OP they are, we know how talented they are in their bending, but for her, I can totally understand and relate to why she's feeling this way and why it's not an urgency for her, you know, why she's not urgent to go fight them and deal with it. I feel like at this point, it's been 2 seasons, going on 3. She's just done, you know, she's like, I don't want to run. I just want to fight my battles head on, which is good, but it's also not always good, you know, she can be a little reckless, but at this point I'm understanding where she's coming from. Let's see what else. I literally wrote nothing she hasn't faced before, you know what I mean? Like, they told her that this is nothing you've ever faced before, and I'm like, okay, she literally fought Unalaq, but okay. Oh, I wrote, I find it interesting. I'm loving that they have, in this episode specifically, they're fighting with the queen, they have the Dai Li to go against, and now there's the threat of the Red Lotus. There's so much hanging on her shoulders, you know, so much pressure. She's having to deal with it all, get the airbenders out, build an airbending community again, you know, and still bring balance to the world as the Avatar. And it's just, I love seeing Korra grow into who she is and who she's becoming. And it's really awesome for her to not get, she's not overwhelmed in this moment, and there's so much going on, and she's just handling it really well, taking on one thing at a time. And I feel like that's a lesson we could all take. At least I know I can, because I start to get like really overwhelmed over multiple things, and instead of just challenging myself to do one thing at a time, I try and take it all on, and it always fails. You know, I always have to take a step back and be like, okay, let's prioritize this. And I feel like that's what she's doing in this moment. She's like, okay, right now my only priority is saving these airbenders. Although I have all these threats around me, my only focus is doing this. Then we can move on and move to the next battle. The very end of this episode, I teared up a little bit. You guys know I'm a crybaby, so you had to expect it. But they collect the airbenders, of course, and they're in a safe spot, and Tenzin's talking with them, and he's saying, you're free to choose what you want to do. You can come with me to the air temple. I will train you, and you can live as an air nomad, or you're free to go be with your families and do what you want. And they all chose to be with him, and he starts to tear up, and that's such a sweet, wholesome moment, because at this point, everyone has pretty much denied him except for Kai, and his only wish is to build this airbending community. For so long, it's been him and his kids, and now all these people are obviously turning into airbenders, and he has the opportunity to rebuild his dad's legacy. So why would you not want to do that? You know, I mean, of course he does want to do that, but when every door has been slammed in his face up until now, it was such a sweet moment. And although I'm not a huge Tenzin fan, he drives me crazy a lot of the time, this was a really sweet moment. I loved it. I was really happy for him, and the reaction that he gave to these airbenders, it was wholesome. I loved it. And that's all the notes I have for this episode. I told you guys it wasn't going to be a very long episode because it's literally just me, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that there was something you could relate to in this episode, or maybe you've seen, or maybe there's something I missed or I didn't really point out that you noticed. And if there is, let me know. Send me a message on Instagram. I've said it before. I'll keep saying it. I'm on Instagram all the time. If you ever want to reach out to us, even just send us like something about Avatar that you loved and you saw and you thought we might like, or not even Avatar related, but it made you think of us, or you just wanted to share it with someone, reach out to us on Let's Talk Avatar. We will always respond. We love getting messages and talking with you guys. It makes our day. Every time I get a message, I run upstairs to Isaac and I'm like, you're not going to believe this. Someone just messaged us. Or even if people follow us, like, I know that seems like something small, but that's such a huge thing for us because we didn't expect to even get to where we are right now. So we celebrate every follow we get. We celebrate every message we get, and it really truly does mean a lot to us. I cannot emphasize that enough. Thank you guys so much for continuing to listen, and thank you so much for bearing with me today and listening to this episode. From me personally, it means a lot that you were able to sit through this episode and deal with me talking about Avatar by myself. I love you guys. I hope you all have an amazing week. Once again, check out our giveaway. We're doing a Valentine's Day pin, Sokka pin giveaway. It is so cute. It is so hard for me not to keep these for myself, but I want to give back to you guys, so check it out. I hope you guys stay around and keep listening. We also have a special episode coming out on Saturday. It is our 1-year reunion. So crazy to think we've been doing this for 1 year. I'm in awe, but we have a special episode for you guys that we'll be releasing, and then we'll have our regular episode releasing on Monday as well. So you guys got 2 episodes this week. Really excited for you guys. We're excited for you guys. Really excited for you guys and us. I hope you all, like I said, have an amazing week. Stay safe, and we will see you guys later. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. You can find us on our website at nonessentialmedia.com, on Twitter at Let's Avatar, and on Instagram at Let's Talk Avatar. Join us next week for another episode. And as always, thank you so much for all your support.